everybody, welcome to another overview video here on ATCB. Today we're going to be looking at Shadows Over Camelot, which is a bit of a classic board game of Arthurian valour and potential betrayal. First of all, what do you get in the box? Well, you get all this stuff.
So much stuff.
So much stuff, quite a lot of stuff. There's multiple boards, this being the main one, and then these are kind of quests you can go on individually. One of them is even flippy, has a quest on the other side. You get a bunch of miniatures, which are pretty nice ones, actually, fairly nice, that represent enemies like Picts and some Saxons over there. And these are kind of rewards you get, like Lancelot's armour and a Holy Grail and stuff like that. And then you get individual figures representing the individual knights that you might play, like Sir Palomides here or Sir Gawain. And they're all quite nice and colour-coded. Fine, yeah, fine. Some big stacks of cards, which I'm going to get to the rules for in a minute. Some siege engine miniatures, loads more special cards, and these quite nice full-colour knight sheets things that have all the rules on them as well. So that's pretty handy as a guide. You get a bunch of, I hesitate to call those custom dice, but good colour-coded dice, yeah. Which are mostly just life counters, which seems a bit...
Odd use of dice.
It's a bit random, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh
dear.
And,
even though it's not random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And some black and white board sword tokens for the board, though, so I was technically correct, the best kind of correct. And those are what the game revolves around, because what you're wanting to do is fill up the round table here with white swords and avoid it being filled up with black swords. As far as the rules of the game go, the first thing to note is that there's a chance that one of you is a traitor in every game that you play. The chance increasing the higher number of players are in the game. Quite a simple system. There's just 8 loyalty cards. The game is for 3 to 7 players. You use the same loyalty deck with everyone. So if there's 3 of you, there's a pretty good chance you're all loyal. If there's 7 of you, there's a really good chance one of you is a traitor. The traitor wins the game if everyone else loses the game. Quite straightforward. What the win and loss conditions are well, it's best to talk about the loss conditions primarily, because you lose if this field in front of Camelot fills up with siege engines, you lose if all the knights die, and you lose if there are 7 black swords around this table. You also lose if the table fills up and there are more black swords than white swords. That issue can get a bit swing either way, because you can win multiple swords at a time or suffer them, and yeah.
With the final event, you can exceed the number of swords. It can go above 12, even though there are 12 slots on the table.
Yeah.
So it can
There are
get a
more
bit...
than 12 actual swords.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of the complication of trying to figure out the maths of it. But we did in our playthrough video, which is linked below here if you want to go have a look at it. We did figure out the maths of that, and the maths is good. The maths is solid, but
we did agonise for about 5
one
minutes.
obscure situation.
Yeah,
the maths
really
is
super
solid.
obscure with it to do with the card and stuff.
Definitely an edge case.
But how it actually works turn from turn, each turn, basically, and the turns are quite short, each knight, say Tristram here, has to do one bad thing, which can be drawing a black card here that can do all sorts of nasty things, like lay down sort of, they're not obstacle cards precisely, but things arrayed against you on the different quests in different ways, or it could end up adding siege engines in some way, or it could be a special black card, such as these, that do more complex things or more wide-reaching things. Like an easy one to explain is one that makes all the knights suffer a life damage and things like that. You can do that, or you can add a siege engine, or you can take a life point hit yourself. So you have to do something bad at first. And then you do something hopefully good, which is a heroic action, which can be to move to different points on the board, to do a quest action, which usually involves laying cards from your hand down here. Or if you're in Camelot, you can draw these cards, you can cash some cards in to get life back. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
So,
That's a good overview, yeah.
Each knight also has a special ability they can use, which are quite varied. Sir Gawain draws more white cards than anyone else. Sir Percival can check the top card on the black deck before they choose whether to draw it or not. And basically when you complete quests, white cards go down, white cards go down, you get some white cards, white swords go down, and you get life points back. And then if the quests fail, which have various different conditions, you get black swords and health damage and maybe some other nasty things like more siege engines.
Yeah.
That's quite an actual fair overview of the rules.
The
I think
difficulty becomes very apparent about sort of a third, 2/3 way through the game, where
Yes.
it starts to get on top of you with the just relentless flow
battering of
of
stuff.
black cards and losing
Yeah.
health points and having to rush around trying to put out fires. You know.
Absolutely. I'm sure this will come up in our, as we've already noted, a round table discussion.
Nah.
God.
But this game is very much a spiritual predecessor to Battlestar Galactica. If you've played the board game of that, this is very similar in a number of ways, but obviously it's got a whole different flavour and theme, and it is different mechanically. Like the different, having to go on these different quests. Like there's some combat quests where you have to just try and lay down, 3 of a kind and a pair there to go against whatever has come out of the black deck here. Or there's something more simple like Excalibur where you simply just discard cards to try and move it closer to your shore. Some of the quests are solo ones, some of the quests are group ones. Without actually giving a full detailed description of exactly what each quest does, and that's kind of pretty much the rules overview,
It
right?
gives you the exact same sense of rushing around desperately trying to fix things before they go horribly wrong in the Battlestar gives you.
Yes,
And also
absolutely.
the uncertainty of whether someone next to you is trying to screw it up for you.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah.
It's got all that sort of stuff. With regards to kind of value for money and components and stuff like that, this retails somewhere between £35 and £40. Obviously, translate for your individual area. Based on components alone,
Yeah.
worth it. Big board.
You could easily expect to pay 60 to 70 for something
yeah.
like this.
Nice quality. It's a bit retro.
Yeah.
Some of the art, no, the card art's really nice. Some like the cover art, I know it doesn't matter. And the board, it's a bit of a retro design, I guess.
That's a good or a
maybe.
bad, depending on your individual taste.
Depending on your individual taste, Fantasy Flight is never going to produce a game that looks like this. Put it that way. It is, however, very handy in that all the components individually kind of have all the rules on them. So the board has the rules for win and loss kind of indicated with symbols on here. In a kind of Euro style, it has the kind of semiotics of that.
Yeah.
And that's basically it, I think. So we'll cut to our round table. I'm not going to start calling it a round table discussion.
God damn it.
And we'll tell you what we think of Shadows Over Camelot. Okay, so Shadows Over Camelot. Discuss.
Pretty good.
It's alright.
Good.
It's alright, isn't it?
Alright.
Yeah.
I'd be more like it's alright than it's alright.
It's
Not that big.
Good.
Yeah,
It's
good talk.
brutal.
It is quite challenging.
It's bit nails.
I get the feeling that people who've played it a lot would have a kind of very logical routine to their actions.
Yeah, I imagine there's like an optimal
Yes.
strat, if you will, for like what order you proceed in, doing what quests,
Yeah.
and you pile everyone onto certain things.
I think if I started a new game of it, I would pile everyone onto the Holy Grail.
Immediately,
Yeah.
just immediately,
Yes.
and then maybe go for the sword after that. And
Yeah.
I think
go for the
everyone
sword
going
also.
off their own thing is not.
No,
No.
it doesn't work because you've got this attrition factor. So
Yeah.
you need to outpace the attrition of the black cards being dealt out, and
Yeah.
on your own, I spent half the game barely
Yeah.
I knew
I
that
think
one.
I
barely
think
keeping up.
it's. I've said it. I said it in the playthrough. I said it in the thing before on this. It does very much feel like a predecessor to BSG, and in more than just the mechanics carrying through, this feels like a more rudimentary version of that game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
The flavour is nice though.
I like it. Yeah.
And I really like the board is nice and everything. I really like the effort the designers have made to put everything readable on a component
Yeah.
near you.
Yeah.
It's not confusing. It's not really at all confusing.
The only thing that annoys me is, like, all these areas kind of lay out what you're supposed to do in each one with the different cards, apart from Camelot. Like, the different...
I get what
it's
you
got
mean. There's
the
nothing on
hardware
Camelot,
things,
yeah.
But,
You mean like fighting the siege engines and stuff?
yeah.
I guess so. I guess they could put a little icon there, but I mean that's compared to how a lot of other designers don't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
anything like
Everything
that.
is on the board, which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, it's a very
And the sheets are
Intuitive, yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Every rule in the game damn near is on there that you need to look at.
Yeah.
Which is handy. I like how the different knights have different abilities. But it's a game that definitely rewards logical optimization.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Given the duration of the game, at probably like an hour and a half to 2 hours for a game is
Yeah.
not unheard of. And the complexity of the mechanics, you need to refer to the rulebook surprisingly infrequently.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah.
I would say
But
so.
then you could look at that the other way in that it is sufficiently the mechanics are sufficiently simple that playing for an hour and a half to 2 hours isn't massively engaging. Like you're running around rushing after things, but actually what you're doing is basically just
It's oddly
It's not-
light on brain power.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite. You're like occasionally there's good moments. Like when I did a thing, which you'll see in
Yeah.
the video. At the end of it, I was like, "Oh, that was a really cool, clever, thinky moment." But actually,
Yeah.
I rarely did that. I was like, "I'm just gonna play this."
There's often
My
a
whole turn
very
is just
obvious next step based on the cards in your hand and the board step.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
true.
Although you
I
could
quite-
argue if we played it more, then the steps would be less
Yes.
obvious. We'd
And-
probably
Yeah.
be playing a few steps ahead.
Yes,
Yeah.
because the logic gear would be there in your brain.
it's true. Yeah.
And I quite liked that because, like, you don't. As someone who very easily gets bogged down with indecisiveness,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it was like there was a logical path of 2 or 3 things, and
Yeah.
I can pen
Right.
down 2 or 3
Yeah. Okay.
things, just not
See, I
Yeah.
5.
I exactly enjoy when I've got lots and lots of things, and I'm like, oh, really trying to work it out in my head. That's fun. That's kind of I have to make a snap decision. It's great. Whereas I can understand you might not.
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
enjoy that more, but again, it's like more awkward as well.
Yeah.
It's one of those. I'd say that my main concern about this game is a kind of combination of those things. In that mechanically, it's quite suited to a more casual player
Yeah.
who just wants quite a not relaxing as such, but definitely relatively chill experience of not having too many decisions thrust on them, but having enough engagement in the game that it can go forward.
Yeah.
But having almost all the trappings, the way the board looks, the way you manage a big hand of cards,
Mhm.
everyone having different abilities, all the different bits of the board doing different things,
It's intimidating.
the trappings of a less casual game.
yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
it's like a sort of a hardcore game with the mechanics stripped back a bit so that people can just jump into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you
It's-
would not jump into BSG in the way you could jump into this.
Yeah.
No, it's a halfway house game in some
It
ways.
is. Yeah.
And it's kind of not all one thing and not all of another.
Mm.
I would still, like, if anyone said, on most days I would play a game of this, I would be happy playing a game of this.
Yeah.
It's a good game, and if someone said to me, should I get Shadows Over Camelot, in most gaming groups I go, yeah, sure. Especially if they're like, I want something like BSG,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but different for a variety. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely say, yeah, absolutely pick this up. In terms of value for money as well,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
surprising,
decent.
actually.
decent, fine.
One of the problems I feel is like how it fulfills that kind of casual thing. You're kind of like, oh, it's nice because you could use it to introduce someone who's not really into this sort of thing to BSG.
Yeah.
But the problem is the theme is a bit impenetrable as well to a certain extent. Like King Arthur is a good theme, but the way that
not if you're British.
But the way the board looks and the way it feels, it actually
Sure.
doesn't seem very friendly. Once you get to know it, it seems quite
No.
intuitive, but it actually doesn't look very friendly.
well,
It's like,
that's what I meant with that kind of the
yeah,
trappings
exactly.
of
Yeah,
complex
it's a
game,
bit
yeah.
like I don't really
Yeah.
know if I want to play this now. If you got this out with someone who wasn't.
Yeah,
messing with the
I would
games.
not put this in front of someone who's... Even though it's actually quite straightforward and
Yeah.
they could do it.
Yeah.
Like, they just look at it and go... Yeah.
Snakes and ladders, it is not.
Yeah.
I don't want to play that.
Yeah.
And also, while it is a recognisable theme in Arthurian stuff,
Mhm.
and especially if you're British, I guess, well, I think, pretty well, like Americans and stuff will know because of all the films. And
Yeah.
it's still... While you could say that BSG also has that issue, if you haven't watched BSG, why would you give a shit? If you have watched BSG,
Yeah, then it's amazing.
then that will pull you in even further, whereas...
I mean, yeah.
You're going to crop up like less people who are like, I'm super into Arthurian stuff,
Yeah,
than you
it's
will
not that
people
looks
who've
like-
watched BSG,
Plus,
probably.
one of the things I always said about BSG is that it is sufficiently well designed to put together that you don't need to particularly be a big sci-fi fan or watch
No.
BSG to enjoy it because it's mechanically sound.
Yeah. And I think that has that as well. I think it's just, and if someone said to me, I really want an Arthurian themed game, I'd immediately go Shadows of Camelot.
Yeah.
But like, how many people are going to say that?
What are some thoughts about this sort of vague speech?
I thought that
Sort
was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
honestly.
I don't think I actually mentioned that in the previous
No.
thing, but yeah, you aren't meant to be able to talk about your hand, except in vague terms. So
What
you
it
can't say I
means-
have a 5 card. You
What-
say I have a... It just means you come up with your own language.
In 10 minutes,
saying
you
that
accidentally evolve a code name for things.
Battlestar
and then-
Galactica has exactly the same issue.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's kind of, at the beginning, it's kind of fun as well. Like, oh, this is really amusing. And at the end, you're just
Yeah.
like, I just need to say this bloody card now.
Yeah.
Just let me play this
if
card
I say
game.
peasant or crap knight, they know
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
that I mean a 1-point knight.
Yeah. So it's got one of those things. I'm almost tempted to play those games with literally no you can't say anything about your hand.
Yeah, I would be down for that.
But then there are
very hard to be Arthur.
Yeah, exactly. And
Or
that
to plan
means
moves in
that
advance.
means you end up with mechanics that where you can't really do anything.
It changes
with
the
them
game a
because
bit, yeah.
You can a little bit because you could look at like the situation in the playthrough, which doesn't give away any spoilers, where I was here and I needed 2 5s and 3 2s, and if I put down a 5 and then put down a 2 and say I do need something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arthur, or if I wait until I put down 2 5s and then put down a 2 and say I need something,
Then it
Yeah.
becomes obvious.
that would be more. Yeah, it's doable.
And if someone's on the Grail quest, you can probably safely assume that giving them Grail cards is handy.
But frankly, I'm not entirely sure what this game needs is to be made harder.
No,
No,
it really
exactly.
doesn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I have played much harder board games than this.
Yeah.
I think co-op board games as well. I think XCOM's harder than this for a start. I think the thing is, to compare it to, BSG is easier.
Yeah, BSG is
Yeah.
definitely easier. Battlestar.
But again, it depends how much you played it. If we put more plays into this, should we know? I only played this twice, so difficulty. It also suffers a bit from the same BSG thing again of the traitor quite often can't really do anything
Hands are a bit
to
tired.
try and other than not be effective,
yeah.
which isn't that entertaining a way to play.
No, it's like, well, I'm just going to sit here and do nothing for
Yeah.
5 turns. Great, it's
And
a
in-
rewarding experience.
To compare it to BSG again,
Yeah.
in that the Cylons have a way of kind of coming out, as it were.
Yeah.
The big
And it's
reveal.
really, and they're sitting
Yeah.
there like, oh,
And they can just bomb somewhere horribly. And in
Yeah.
this,
No, you just
No.
finally
Yeah.
get rumbled, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, okay.
The,
Yeah.
It's me.
compared to Battlestar, it is nice that the turns, because that's one of the big problems with
Turns
Battlestar,
are
is it takes
super
so
quick
long.
in
In
this.
this, it's very, very fast,
Yeah.
which is
Very
nice.
fast,
You're sitting there
very
like, what am I going to do? Oh, it's my turn already.
it's
Okay.
never long until it hits your turn again, which is
Yeah.
always a nice thing.
But equally, a lot of the turns are very,
The amount of
Yeah.
games of Battlestar I play with people who weren't super into the game, where they're literally falling asleep by the time it comes to their turn because
Yeah.
they're just
Yeah.
they take so long to get around to them.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'd say to sum up, I think Shadows Over Camelot is worth getting.
Yes.
I would say if you want a hidden betrayal game where there might not be a traitor and things happen and you have to kind of all cooperate to go against big challenges, but one of you might not be on board. Unless you have a thing against sci-fi or Battlestar in general, and especially if you like Battlestar, go for Battlestar Galactica
definitely.
Yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt.
Mhm.
However, if that's not your thing, or you're after something that has the trappings of a more hardcore game, or you're super into King Arthur, then this is an option, or you just want an extra one.
Interesting problem with Battlestar though is trying to get people who are then going to later try and get to watch the series to play it.
That
Spoilers
is
in the
a
cards.
fucking minefield.
Yeah, yeah. The spoiler
I'll play Battlestar. I really want to watch it. You haven't watched it? No, then we're not playing it.
Yeah.
We cannot help you. You will
And like every expansion spoilers another
Spoilers
series.
another series.
Yeah, exactly,
so,
exactly.
this does not have that problem
No, it
unless
doesn't.
they're like halfway through the Once and Future King and they have no idea about the Legend of King Arthur.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's kind of it with Shadows of Camelot. It's a worthy purchase. If you're after one of the two and you're kind of balanced on either, I'd say
Battlestar.
definitely go for Battlestar.
Yeah.
I know we're referencing that, and I know there's other games that do this kind of thing that are out there, but these two are the most famous, I think, and they definitely are very similar.
They're very comparable. I mean, there's a lot of other games with the traitor mechanic, like you've got Dead
Yeah.
of Winter and things, but that's a
Yeah,
very
totally.
different sort of game to this.
Yes.
Like, whereas this is much more like Battlestar.
Yeah.
Like,
I think like one of the very few criticisms I would actually level at this game is probably for certain situations when you're on quests, it can feel a bit sort of, well, I'll just do this incredibly short, obvious turn that is the only
Yes.
obvious thing to do, and then wait for it to come
Yeah,
around.
that's
to me
what
again.
I don't like.
And you have to do that like 5 times in a row.
Yeah,
Say, like
yeah,
I'm trying to go for the sword, and you're trying
Yeah.
to do the grail.
And you're not even going to do the quest.
And then
You
you
stop
know
being
you
a favourite.
have spent half an hour doing
more
something that is the only
so,
option.
more so than Galactica, you
Yeah.
need a group who is happy to get the main amount of their pleasure from the game from working as a group.
Yes.
There ain't a lot of individual glory in this game, and
Yeah.
if there is, it comes from a good few turns of just doing one thing over and over again.
Yeah. Whereas
So
it's
it's
not
more of a
not quite comfortable to be like, right, hop in a Viper and go and gun down some
In
fighters.
which
You know,
case,
it's not.
this is a game that's better with an established group,
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I agree with that.
where you're already friends with people and you can
yeah.
have a bit more of a rapport, because otherwise it might be a bit soulless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also then the betrayal is so much more
It's brutal.
Yes, yes.
That's
true.
always the case, and I think that's it. I think that's a fair assessment of Shadows Over Camelot.
Mhm.
Not amazing, but it's really solid, I think, and enjoyable.
I think so.
We're definitely gonna play it more. So yeah, solid stuff. Well done, Days of Wonder and Sergei Leggett.
No,
and Bruno Cafalla. I know Bruno Cafalla's name. So
okay.
Is it Serge?
I think it's Serge. I think it's Serge Leger.
Or just wing it.
I can tell you about it.
Serge and Bruno, well done on your solid game. That I suspect at the time it came out, because this is a while old now. I think at least 10 years old, a bit more.
Holds up very well.
It holds up very well, and I have no doubt was very innovative at the time. So bit of a modern classic. So yeah, Shadows Over Camelot. General thumbs up.
Yeah.
Not screaming about it, but thumbs up. Yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Check out our other overviews on the channel. They're all in the playlist. Check out our playthroughs. There's literally hundreds of them at this point. Oh yeah, they're all in the playthrough. They're all in the playthrough. They're all in the playlist.
Just watch them all in one go.
I cannot talk. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you like this. There's a link below to our playthrough of Shadows Over Camelot. There's also a link to our Patreon if you want to shove us some cash, because who doesn't want to do that? Yeah, so thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Bye.